What happens when a whole country loses power? Well, that is exactly what happened to Portugal on April 28th, 2025 when we were in Porto. Not something I expected to experience. It's something that could have gone very, very poorly, but just because of circumstances, it ended up being a pretty nice experience. This is what that looked like.
Hello and welcome back to the beautiful country of Portugal. So today we are in Porto shooting some gold, no, not even gold actually, it's portrait today. We're shooting some Portra 160. And before I talk too much while standing and walking around in the sun, I'm going to try to find a tree to sit below because I'm not a hot weather guy, if you haven't noticed already. The first news article of the day that we're going to talk about, and that is there seems to be a massive power outage for Spain, Portugal, and parts of France, which happened immediately after ordering a coffee. So I ordered a coffee. 2 minutes later, she says, our power just went out. We can't do coffee anymore. The past 45 minutes has just been walking around, seeing people kind of just standing in the streets, all the shop lights being out, all the traffic lights being out. It's been interesting. I don't think it should last too long, but thankfully I have power in this camera. It also shut down the phone lines, so the data on my phone wasn't working either, so it was a nice little throwback Thursday to no power and no cell service. It really makes me grateful to be traveling when there is cell service and there is data connection to figure things out, because 45 minutes of no electricity and no cell data, you really feel how dependent we are on it. But for now, let's go take a walk and see what we can see in a powerless Porto. There's two big things you're going to notice about Porto. First one, that it's insanely colorful. All the roofs are red. Most of the buildings have some sort of bright color to them. And the other thing is that it's very, very hilly. You're either going up or you're going down. There's some in between, but it's usually one or the other. So the other consequence of this power outage is that it's no longer really possible to pay for something without cash. And I, unfortunately, used the last of my cash last night for dinner and for getting a water bottle and some stuff. So getting food isn't really possible, getting coffee isn't really possible, and the ATMs don't work without electricity. So 2 or 3 hours into it, you know, it's provided a lot of like peace and quiet and a lot of time to walk around and think and look at stuff, but maybe I got some coins in my bag. I'll go back to the hostel and check.
I'm too excited.
So it's our last day in Porto now, and that little power outage that started in the afternoon yesterday around 11 a.m. or so lasted into the evening, which was a really interesting experience. Really bonded with the people quickly, figured out how to gather food and resources, where you can buy chips from because all the food places were closed, they didn't have any electricity, how to get out of Porto because people had flights today, because it happened yesterday, flights today that they had to get to with buses that they couldn't book tickets for because the internet also wasn't working. Really cool experience. It ended well. It could have gone a lot worse, but it ended around 9 p.m. right when the sunset had happened, so we were on the bridge and we saw the lights come back on and everyone was cheering. Not great depending on your circumstance, but thankfully everything worked out well in the end. Last thing I want to talk about is being here. This is one of the first times I've come back to a city that I've been to before and stayed in like the same hostel and that sort of thing. And I found myself reflecting a lot in terms of what has changed in the 3 years since I was here last time, because it's basically exactly 3 years difference. And that kind of reflection brought me onto the topic of sort of like being present in the moment. The trip I did 3 years ago was one of the first trips I did when I moved to Europe. And it just, that was sort of one of my favorite trips I had ever done, you know, like the hostel was really cool, the people were cool, the city was beautiful, like it was a new chapter of my life, so there was just so much excitement, you know, and that trip went so well. But what I recognized is thinking too much about that past trip while on this trip was sort of blocking me from fully appreciating this trip. And I found myself thinking not of where I am right now, but where I was 3 years ago. So after that sort of like first day of thinking too much about how much fun it was last time and thinking more about that and not being present in the moment, the following day, the day with the power outage, was kind of like lined up really nicely. I kind of tried to ignore everything else and just be present in the moment, which is how my headspace was when I did that original trip, right? Because there was nothing else to think about except the excitement of being where I was. So the second day I was here, the one that I got most of the footage from yesterday, I was more present, especially with the power outlet. There was nowhere else to be, no online places to be, and it ended up being one of the best things you can do, because the point of traveling is to be somewhere, obviously, which sounds stupid to say, but sometimes you have to say the stupid things to make them really click. Lesson from this trip for me personally is just being where you are when you're there. Don't think about the past, don't think about the future. Just make sure you're present and enjoy your time there. Hopefully in that presence you'll notice some good places to take photos. That's going to be it for Porto. Maybe I have a bit more footage as I head back and catch my flight back to Vienna. But thank you for watching and managing to make it to the end. I hope the pictures were semi-interesting. And I'll see you on the next trip. This is number 19. Got 11 more to go.